But I can tell you what, as we continue to sniff the glue and breathe in the chemicals being burned in ditches and have our brains literally altered by watching TikTok, we got to hang on because there's more stuff coming. Who's heard of artificial intelligence? Who's heard of Chat GPT? I've heard of both. And I can tell you, there's some interestingly cool stuff going on right now. So, of course, as we find new technology, here's more or less the cycle, right? The cycle is new technology is discovered by scientists. Scientists release the information. The information is then picked up by the people who are paying the close attention, and those are more or less the purveyors of new information. Well, depending on how the purveyors of new information feel like they want to share this information, they start taking what starts as factual data, relatively unbiased, depending on the source, and they start to turn that boring nerd jargon into a consumable product for the masses being us, right? So as they alter and change the information selectively to make it appeal more or less to the individuals so that it is more consumable, more understandable, and more ultimately accessible to people who understand the topic less and less, as the information becomes made available for more people, it is therefore less quality. Like, there's way less quality. I believe in that in most facets of the world. Mass production has done amazing things, but it's also made it so that 80% of our apple juice is from China. So in a world of you can be efficient, but you can also be right. I choose, when it comes to news, make sure you're right. Well, anyway, all of that nonsensical nonsense aside, the point is ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence language-based model or language model that more or less is Google if it tried to pretend it was your grandma. You know, it's Google with a personality. It's more than just, hey, find me this aggregate information. It's, hey, explain to me this information that you found. And it does a surprisingly amazing job at it. It really does. But what it doesn't do very well is unbiasedly take in the information. So if you guys are, Fletch, what's up, Fletch? If you guys are anything like me at all, okay, you understand that that the internet itself, the internet is not the world. It's really not. The internet is a part of humanity that if people acted the way they did online, we would not have a society left. That is the truth. Because of the nature of the internet, it has more or less destroyed what, millions of years of socializing has created. It still exists. It just barely exists on the internet, right? And now as the world is evolving to make the internet as common as, say, the wheel, because we're truly working towards that, so will our humanity. I think given enough time, the internet will become, this pair relationship of it's not so weird, right? Like people online and people offline, there's not like this distinct line between I can be like this online because, and I don't, and I can't be it offline. Man, I am struggling with keeping I'm making stupid points. I'm making smart points stupidly. That's what I'm saying. But ultimately, we have this weird phenomenon where people think if it's on the internet, it doesn't matter. And also another group of people that says the internet is the only thing that matters in terms of society. But then you have the reality that that's just not the case. The internet right now is no different than the magazines of the past. Or it's new. It truly is new. And that is why people act so stupid on it. Because they think since it's not real life, I can give death threats and still consider myself a good person. And that just is not the case. But we will save that for the Hogwarts story. what I want to talk about right now is when it comes to the new technology, okay, a lot of times what comes out is new technology bad, new technology the best thing ever. Those are the two narratives that get created. And then the middle is the truth that a new technology exists that's ultimately flawed, and here are the reasons that it's flawed. Okay, so ChatGPT, I'm going to try to do better. So ChatGPT is a language model that you can type in, hey, ChatGPT, will you write me a 500-word essay on why balloons are dangerous for infants? And it'll be like, sure, Billy. And it'll write you out, honestly, a pretty good essay. You really got to do your homework to make sure that it's pulling from good information. But at its core, ChatGPT is fantastic. Language models like this are super cool. They are what Google should be. If you've ever watched Star Trek and watched them go, computer, bring, what's going on? And it's like, well, Captain, this is exactly what's going on. That is ChatGPT. It is how we can interact with a data set without having to do the thinking ourselves. So the problem is, though, is what happens when, because the internet is not as real as we like to think it does, and it's very biased and very emotionally charged, and the information on the internet tends to not be the best information available. How do you avoid a biased AI? How do you make an AI that doesn't have political affiliations? Because when an AI is trying to understand the world, it only has the available knowledge from before, from what people have written. And if the big money on the internet is bias, society splitting information, what do you think will happen with this AI? It's going to become biased. If the information it is given is biased, it will be biased. The same as a person, the same as a brain, and that, I think, is the part that these people who focus too much on the future isn't figuring out. They don't understand that the reason that the information that ChatGPT gives is bias is because the information that it is pulling from is bias. It's truly that simple. And I know how all of that happens is extremely complicated. I'm not downplaying how it's very difficult to make an unbiased program. But what I am saying is that pretending that there's not a bias is bad, right? That is where the optics become very skewed. I went on to ChatGPT and we had a nice little conversation, which I'm going to turn into a video. But essentially, I don't really care if it'll write a poem about Biden, but not Trump. I don't really care if it'll write a poem about trans rights, but not about straight rights. That's the flavor of the week, right? That's I care about this, so be mad. I don't know. Go fuck yourself forever. I don't care about your one individual thing that you believe is better than every other thing, okay? They don't like the capital gains tax. You don't like the bathroom thing. They don't like the laptop thing. It's flavor of the week. Okay, I don't buy into the flavor of the week. But what I do buy into is the long-term depreciation of knowledge. I have a huge hard-on for stopping people from creating new victims. And that's what ChatGPT is. As we sat down and had this conversation, I was like, so tell me, ChatGPT, in a essay of 500 words or less, can you please explain to me why you don't feel it's appropriate to write an essay about Trump? And those were the conversations I asked. And believe it or not, as much as it was a biased explanation, the explanation it gave truly helped me understand, like, oh, yeah, I know exactly why you believe what you believe, artificial intelligence. I make them cite the sources. I say, cite your sources. And if the AI didn't cite the source, I would say reword or give me or answer that question again while clarifying these things, and then cite your sources. And it would say, okay, well, based off of this article written in 2012 stating that Trump was dividing the nation, it makes sense that people would not trust him and da-da-da. And I'm like, interesting. Because based off of the information that it's pulling from, yep, I get it, man. Yeah, I know why you're biased. Because you are pulling from biased sources. And the problem is you have to train an AI that understands what bias looks like. And that, holy cow, unbelievably difficult, right? Unbelievably difficult to, as a human, even identify what most biases are. Let alone, as a human, know how to train away that bias in an artificial mind. I mean, these people are trying to swim without feet, and you can swim without feet. You just have to learn how to do it. And that's exactly what these people are doing, man. So, so a big part of the chat, the AI for me, right? The big part of the AI for me is people are giving it too much credit. They're making a big deal out of a bias that honestly is so unbelievably explainable. And that's where, as I'm watching all these content creators and they're all talking about, like, look at the lib AI. It's like, no, man, you guys aren't getting the point. All you want to do is find another reason to fight with the other side. All you want to do is all you want to do is like get ammunition to volley, right? You want to, fuck those libs. Look what they're doing. No, look at the problem. Look at the root core of our problem. Why is this happening? Why is the AI biased? It's because we won't stop fighting each other, and there's huge money in division. There's crazy money in division. And as soon as we stop playing the division game, AI will start to be way less biased, man. This technology is in its utmost infancy. And what it does is amazing. It's amazing. If I knew about ChatGPT when I was in school, I would have A's every class, except for math, because even then, I still wouldn't have done my homework. But the point is, we need to stop going like all or nothing on everything we do. If some AI internet program on a website is saying Trump bad, Biden good, okay, fair enough. Do you see my point? Do you see how I have no follow-up because a rational person would just move on from that? We need to stop making millions of dollars, billions of dollars on talking about stupid shit. Okay, I want to stop seeing headlines that say Delta passenger called her a stupid face. 101,000 clicks on that damn article. So as much as I'm using ChatGPT to get you to click on my links, we got to stop getting mad at this stuff, y'all. We got to stop getting mad at it. We need to understand better what it is and how little it matters until... We need to know how little it matters until it's strong enough to matter. That doesn't mean we ignore it. That doesn't mean that we allow it to just continue. It just means that when we talk about it from a place of knowledge. Talk about it from a place of understanding. Talk about it from a place of the future. Don't talk about it on how it proves that your enemies are wrong. Because then all you're doing is telling the world that you have enemies. I'm here to tell the world to do better because I don't want any enemies. So let's do it better together. Each and every one of us.